man, it's going down. It's Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out. We got a real special guest today. But before we do that, man, shout out to OST Liquors, man. If you're not familiar with OST Liquors, go ahead and check them out, man. It's a black-owned liquor store right here in Houston, Texas. They're located at what's the address for OST? 3928 OST, man. 3928 Old Spanish Trail. That's OST Liquor, man. Black-owned liquor store. Definitely check them out. Appreciate them supplying the vibes. You know what I'm saying, for tonight's episode. Now check it out, man. We got a real special guest today, man. When we talk about Houston, you know what I mean? We talking about legendary hip hop, man. It's certain groups, man, that you got to talk about. You know what I mean? And you know, of course, we know about rap a lot. You know what I mean? That's the foundation of the city. You know what I'm saying? And it's a whole lot of groups over there, man. But one group in particular, man, they really left a stain in the game, man, and that's the Fifth Ward Boyz. And today we got Low Life representing the Fifth Ward Boyz. What's going down, man?
Hey man, I'm glad you have me.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and hopefully I can add a little new stuff in there.
For sure. So what's new with you, man? You got a new album out, right?
Right. So the new project is nonfiction, and, based on a true story, and it's got 13 tracks on it, and it's featuring E-Rock, of course, from the Fifth Ward Boyz, and it's got Bun B on it, got Lil Kiki on it, got Young Martez, Ice Water Slaughter, and a few other items on there. You know, it'll be a surprise to other people, but few heavyweight hitters, you know, on the project.
Yeah. So man, let's just go back to the beginning, man. Just talk about how you even before the Fifth Ward Boyz, you know what I'm saying, early on, man, just musical influences and things that really led you into, you know, this lifestyle that we all know you for, man.
Right. So like music really was in my family, and my daddy was in a band, and just the whole vibe of it. I picked the guitar up at an age, like I don't even know why I picked it up, but I picked it up because like it was there, and then later on my dad told me like you know I'm in a band and stuff. So, you know, when I started realizing like what really music was, and harmonica. My dad played the harmonica and also the guitar, and in the band that he was in, and I took a liking to music for that reason. So I just started liking all the old music that he used to play. It just, you know, I'm vibing on it, not knowing what the future was gonna hold, but just like that alone, knowing now that it was in our family.
Yeah. So I mean, when do you actually yourself like get into like, you know, writing rhymes and, you know, all that type of stuff?
Uh, I started listening to Kids Jam, uh, 90.9 Kids Jam. They had a station where they was playing, playing rap music, and
Was it Lester Sir Pace and
yeah,
what's my man over there? Oh my God, had the I'm a Dope Fiend record.
um,
Oh, God damn.
I know his name.
Jazzy Red.
Right,
All
him.
that whole era. Yeah.
That whole era. So yeah, and then especially Lester Pace, because he had a slogan that he always do out there, and I listened to that every single weekend, and I ain't have a car back then, but I used to have the 6x9s in the window in the car, and so I went outside and found a plyboard, and I took the speakers out of house speakers and made my own board, and I had used to have a competition in my house. We lived in a trailer home, and my room was in the back of the trailer home, and I had my own board, and I cut out some holes and set the speakers in it, and I used to have dudes to bring their boards to my house and see whose speakers did the whole thing, and we used to hook our speakers up to my stereo, which played 90.9 at Kids Jam. Yeah. So that whole little thing started developing the love of music. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's even listening, but like, when do you actually say, all right, I'm finna give this shit a shot? You know what I mean? 'Cause it's one thing to be a fan of it, but it's another thing when you step in and say, man, you know what? I'm finna go ahead and try to make it happen on my own.
I ain't not till I got to high school.
Hmm. And what high school you at? Were you at Wheatley or what?
I was at Wheatley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at Wheatley, and I was thinking about it in middle school, but I was like, man, we ain't gonna be no rappers. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then when rapper lot kicked in, I was at Wheeler, and me and this little dude, Gino Markelli, we wind up, we was about to have a fight about like, man, you know, cause we had heard Wheeler was supposed to been like, you got to go over there and fight, for, you know, the lunch place and all that. So I guess me and him had the same thing. So me and him was wind up about to fight, and then the one of the teachers said, man, what y'all got going on? And we wind up sitting down, but then he had the love of music too. So we wind up going and listening to 90.9 one day, and we made our first song. My cousin knew Michael Watts,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, I know a DJ, man. He got a little something set up and there, you know."
Around what year is this?
Man, it was 80 something, and that's right before he named where he was at, Swisher House. He was right there in Rosewood. Me and my cousin took me over there. We rode our bicycles over there, and we go to Michael White's house, and he had a turntable set up in there, big old house speakers, and me and my partner was like, I brought my keyboard. I rode over there from Fifth Ward to Michael White's house with a keyboard on a bicycle, and he hooked my keyboard up to his system, and and I played the beat that I had going in the Casio, and he hooked the turntables up, and he made our first beat, our first song. Michael Watts. I just told him this the other day.
No shit.
He made our first beat. This might have been his first song. This might have been Michael Watts' first song. Yeah, before he even named the Swish House, he was right there in Rosewood by the railroad tracks. Yeah.
But this ain't. But you not the Fifth Ward boys at the time. This just you and your homies, y'all.
Not nowhere close to it.
Yeah.
Nowhere close to it. It was just the love of music, and knowing that, like, man, I want to try this one day. Where maybe just shooting at it. But I had artists that I really liked, like Rakim, EPMD.
This who you influences are at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
They like, I'm like, man, them dudes, they wearing rope chains and warm ups, and
They
got,
looking like street cats.
right. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, I'm like, that's cool right there. And then they started putting the music to they persona, and I was like, man, I want to do that one day, man. So that right there was the creep into me really want to do music. Yeah.
Man, okay. So then, I mean, when does it actually go with the whole rap lot thing? That whole relationship.
So what happened was they had a group called Too Much Trouble, the Baby Ghetto Boys. I was real cool with Marvin, which rest in peace, the Ghetto. Me and him was real cool, and he knew I rap, and he wound up getting in the group, which Drunk D, Lil Bar None, they had a midget in their group too, and Black, they DJ, and that's why they call themselves the Baby Ghetto Boys, because Bar None was he was the Caucasian midget, and they was like, man, we got a song that Marvin hit me. He said, man, I got a song I want you to get on, man. He said, man, you think you can do it? I'm like, yeah, what's up with it? So he put me on the song, and we went to the studio, recorded it, and Face had just left the studio, and Big Mello had just left the studio, because they was on the same project, and Lil J had just missed. I had just missed him, but we actually did a concert one night, and Lil J was there. He came to see them perform, and Lil J heard me rapping my verse on stage on the song. So when we get off stage, Lil J was like, "Hey man, he said, man, he said you in the group or something?" I was like, "No, no." He said, "You signing somebody?" I was like, "No." He said, you write songs? I said, yeah, I write songs. He said, man, I like your voice, man. He said, he said, man, you put some songs together, man, and come find me.
Mm.
So
This is crazy, and I'm finna stop real quick because I want to adjust the mic. But
Right.
it's just crazy
right.
to hear so many people early on. That was their Lil J thing. Like, okay, get some songs and then come holler at me.
Right.
Because I just had Dope E from the Terrace up here, and he was saying when Gangsta Nip met him,
Yeah.
Jay told him, "I like you, but make 5 songs or something like that, and
Yeah.
then come holler at me."
Yeah, because he want to see if you serious or if you really could do it. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, that whole thing of Lil J, I guess that was just his. We was kids, but I guess that was just his way of, like, I see some talent, and if you can go further than what I just heard, come find me, because if you come looking for me off of what I told you, that means you're pretty serious about it. Yeah. So I went and found it. So after I heard it was a rap a lot, and it was like my boy and them had a whole project, and I'm like, man, I want to put me on a project out. Yeah, so I put together a couple songs, and I had them, and back then. I'm like, man, I gotta rehearse these songs, man. I gotta make sure.
You want to make your performance together? You want to
Yeah,
make sure
I'm in the mirror. I'm like the songs there. I'm practicing looking hard. Like E40 said, I practice looking hard. I'm in the song. I said, man, this rap a lot, man. These boys, I'm making, So I made songs like Jack and Rednecks for Rolex. You know what I'm saying? I'm make the hardest song. I'm like, deep. I'm deep in the hole. Yeah. So basically, that right there was on ice until I had the opportunity to find Jay. Yeah.
So how do you actually end up finding him?
So what happened was back then, house phones was real popular, and when house phones were popular, they had to pull out antenna, but they also had cell phones was just coming in. They had the big Houston cellulars. It was about this big, and one of the Rap-A-Lot vehicles, one of the Ghetto Boy vehicles, it had broke down like right in front of my house, and I took the house phone. The house phone went a little ways. You know what I'm saying? And I went over there. I said, "Hey man, you a Rap-A-Lot?" He was like, "Yeah, this P.W.A, this Scarface road manager." And I say, "Yeah." I say, "You cared, brother?" He's like, "Yeah. Yeah." I say, "Yeah, man. Lil J told me to find him, and if you need some help, you can come use the phone. You gotta get a little closer to the house and use my house phone." He say, "Nah, I already pulled out the big cellular phone." Yeah, he said, "Nah, they on the way. I just talked to him or whatever, you know what I'm saying?" I said, "Well, Lil J told me to find him." And he said, "Well, he gonna be over there at the record shop at OG Do It record shop, and supposed to be over there by 2:00.
What was the name of the record shop?
It ain't had no name yet, but it wound up being Jammin' Records. And so it was just the record shop, off of Lowndes and Waco. And and he told me, say, they gonna be over there. Jay supposed to meet them over there by 2:00 or whatever. He said, "Man, you might need to roll on over there and holler at him because he supposed to be there." So I was young, 19, something like that, and I just out of high school, whatever. And I jumped on my bicycle and I rode over there. I ain't know where it was, but I knew the area, and I wound up finding it. And I went in there and I was like, "Hey man, I ain't know nobody in there really." 007 was in there, E-Rock was in there, Dewey, and a couple other people was in there. And I'm like, man, yeah, man. Jay told me to find him, and I was talking to a dude named P.W.A. He told me to come over here and holler at him, whatever. He say, "So you know how to rap? Just do it." So I said, "Yeah, man, I got some songs." He told me to put some songs together, and he said, "Well, let me hear what you got." So back then, tape cassettes. I had my tape cassette ready. I already had it right on the. I had it right on the.
So as soon as you press play, you ready to go?
Boom! I got the first song from the tear your head off with it. I put it in there and go on, you know what I'm saying? I started rapping, I go in it, and I said, "Yeah, that's one." He said, "Okay, all right. You got how much?" I said, "Yeah, I got about 2 more," you know what I'm saying? I said, but I really don't want to rap my songs. I want to rap them to Jay. You know what I'm saying? Is he coming? You know what I'm saying? They were like, yeah, he coming. He coming. So I said, all right, well then I go ahead and rap these other two. So I wound up rapping the next two or whatever, and everybody looking like, all right, so cool. So it's kind of quiet because like they already the Double O and E-Rock had already been in there rapping already. So they basically was a group that hadn't had a name yet. And when
Wait,
Jay,
they had been there rapping that day or just previous to this?
previous, they had already then Double O then already then
They already made their rap like connection.
yeah. So they basically was like waiting on Jay too. So but they was do it project as far as like, okay, well we waiting on Jay to come through to see if this something that he feel like that he want to work with, and Lil J got there and they rapped their songs. And then I say, man, Jay, remember you told me to find you, whatever, what I'm saying, so I came over here to holler at you. I don't really know nobody, in here. But I got my songs ready, man. You told me that, in too much trouble. You're like, okay, all right, let me check the bars out first, you know what I'm saying? I said, that's cool, I ain't going nowhere. I'm good, yeah. So they did their thing, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, them boys rocking, man. Yeah, they got a nice little flow, whatever. And so Jay said, okay, let me hear what you got. So I went to playing mine and I rapped mine or whatever. And he was like, yeah, man, you got something, man. You know how Jay talk, he talk real slow. He said, yeah, you got something, man. Yeah, I like that. And he said, but he said, man, my boy, he been working with these dudes and he said, but I want to do something with you though. I want to, and he was like, but I'm gonna do a project with them first, and then we'll come back and we'll double back with your project, unless you want to get in the group. And I said,
That's crazy that right there he had already masterminded this for the.
right. So I'm like, man, that them coming out and then me after them, it might not ever never be a me. I say, dude, if they all right with them, then put me in the group. Because I know that's the first thing coming. And he said, all right, well then y'all put it together, but you're gonna be able to do it, whatever. So we wind up doing our first concert, and we still hadn't had a name yet, but we didn't want to be like Ghetto Boys or whatever, but we was all from Fifth Ward, so we was like, man, we might well name ourselves the Fifth Ward Boys. And then that from that one concert right next to Chacho's off of 610, we became the Fifth Ward Boys from that day right there.
Man, okay, so how was that like getting into this group now? Because now you got these guys that, y'all ain't, E-Rock and 007, they kind of established somewhat of a relationship, but then
Right.
you coming in third, like how y'all coming in and like
So
making this thing work together as a group,
Okay, so they went to high school together. So they went to Wheelie. I had already left Wheelie. So they wind up was connecting off of that. So what's crazy about it that my dad just passed away on December 3rd, a couple of weeks ago. And actually my daddy knew E-Rock before I did. They used to work together. So E-Rock my daddy used to pick E-Rock up and they used to go to work for a summer job program. And I used to get in the car to go over to where I went to school at Millville High School. And my daddy used to just drop me off and I go do my thing until they get off from work.
So this whole time you around him.
I'm around him, but I ain't know we was gonna be in no rap group together, nothing like that. I ain't even know he was rapping. He didn't know I was rapping. We was just riding in the truck. He was going to work and I was going to go mess off. You know what I'm saying? Going to go mess off over on Broadway all day till my daddy got off from work. You know what I'm saying? So I went over there, hustled a little bit, and my dad is, he'd tell me where to meet him at, and he'll pick me up, and we'll go back to the hood, drop E-Rock off, and we'll go back home. And I never knew we was gonna be in a group together. Me and E-Rock, yeah. And so, but by them being in the going to high school together, they used to be rapping and coming up with songs and all that stuff together. And when we actually became the group, I wound up getting locked up.
What year is this?
This 93. I wound up 92.
So you hustling or what you doing?
I was hustling, man.
Yeah.
You know that was me jumping off the porch. I wound up hustling, and I was like, well, this was my idea to the whole thing. Like, I'm like, Jay and them got money, and they got the record label, but we need to dress like we look like rappers. So E-Rock and Double O didn't know this. I'm going out there to go hustle so I could buy us clothes to look like rappers. Yeah, cause like we ain't grow up like that having it. But they
And it
ain't
ain't
know
no money
that.
being made because ain't nothing out
Ain't
here.
no
So
money being made, no nothing. So they ain't know like I'm going to go buy. So when we show up the next time, they were like, man, where y'all get that at? This was in my mind. I want the hustle to get us stuff that to made us look like Biz Markie and Rakim with the big chains and the clothes. I mean, we was gonna start out small or whatever with the warm ups and the BKs and all. You know,
but we getting fresh though.
I'm hoping, I'm planning on us looking real good for this first shot. And man, I got locked
This
up.
for the ghetto dope album.
This for the our first
Gangsta,
for
yeah.
Ghetto Dope.
Ghetto Dope,
So
yeah.
so when Ghetto Dope came out, we hadn't even had a name for that project. We just was doing songs. We had Fucking With Them Niggas I'm Down With. We had Ghetto Dope. You know, all those songs were songs that I ain't knew that we was finna be doing. And back then, when we was rapping, they ain't have all this Pro Tools stuff where you can do 50
Solid
tracks
analog,
on
yeah.
and all that. We had a 4-track where when it was on the wall and
Where y'all recording
at Beto's spot in the atrium on the southwest
I
side.
heard about this spot, yeah.
And they got this microphone on the wall, and they got a 4-track player where they only had 1 track for the beat and 1 track for each
Everybody
one of
get
the
their
rappers.
own, yeah.
So if you mess up, you got to start all over again. So we was practicing so hard then to where you got to rap your whole verse with no backtracks, just straight across on the wall. So that's what we were doing before I got locked up. And
So you got locked up before it even came out.
man, I got locked up as a kid before that. And like, I was telling people in jail that, man, I'm a rapper. They were like, man, you ain't no rapper. Man, ain't nobody in rappers in Houston but the Ghetto Boys, man. You ain't no rapper. I said, man, I'm a rapper, man. I'm with a group called the Ward Boyz, man. You know, and they were like, man, that ain't no group. You know, they had a speaker in the county where they was playing songs, and they wound up playing the one song that I got the right to, but I ain't get to record it. Was with Bushwick, and it was called "Thanks for the Blessing." And I told Double O, I said, hey man, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing, but rap all my rhymes. So when I come home one day, I can say that's me,
on stage,
and
yeah.
I can start rapping my own verse. You know what I'm saying? So Double O rapped all my verses in like 4 songs. You know what I'm saying? So that was the whole thing with me. I missed.
So how much time did you get when on that first one, when y'all were doing that first album?
That first project. I wound up doing a year, and I wound up. Matter of fact, one of the persons that was on the case with me was Ali Sadiq, the comedian. Me and them caught a case together.
Is this the case he talk about in his comedy? Yeah.
When he always talk about that,
Yeah.
me and him was on the same case.
No shit.
He wound up going to prison, and I wind up, my lawyer said, I ain't gonna let you sign for no time because you ain't did nothing. And I wound up, because he was on probation. So he wound up doing 6 years, and I wound up coming home, being a Fifth Ward boy, and before he even became a comedian, me and him did time in the county, like 8 months together in the same, like fighting that case or whatever. And he wound up getting like 10, 20 years, something like that. And I wound up
So
actually
it just came down to the lawyer. That's why he just ended up just getting.
Yeah, like he was like, because his probation, he wound up getting.
Oh, cause I got you.
Yeah, he wound up getting slammed, and then because of me, I ain't never been in trouble before, and I hadn't really did nothing on the case. I wound up beating the case, and if I wouldn't have beat that case, I wouldn't never be who I am today. Yeah, so yeah, so when he came home, I was like, hey man, it's ready for you, and he took off with the whole comedian thing. Then I We'll talk about that in
Yeah. So okay, after y'all do that album though, you do the Gangsta Funk. Or do you catch the sessions for that?
So when Gangsta Funk, I had just came home. They had already dropped Ghetto Dope, 1993 in March, and when I got out after I did that year, I came home right before Christmas, and wind up. They was telling us we was working on Gangsta Funk, and they was telling us like, "Hey man, y'all gonna either do this project or they got a show in Hawaii." We went to Columbus, Ohio first. We come back and they say they got a show in Hawaii, and if y'all go there, y'all project gonna come out, which was Gangsta Funk. And like man, we all conjured up with me, Double O, and he was like, man, we might not never get to go to Hawaii, man. We don't go this time. And so we was like, man, we going to Hawaii. We shot out to Hawaii, and they're like, man, y'all crazy for going out there, such. We went out there. We got paid to go out there. And we was out there with DJ Quick and Boss, the girl Boss, and a couple other people that was out there. And Big Mike was out there. Bushwick was out there. And we went out there with saying that probably when we get back, man, we probably ain't gonna never get to rap again. You know, we just got to go off together. And when we wound up getting back, Ghetto Dope was so popular to where they was like, we need another project from y'all. So as soon as we got back, we got right back on Gangsta Funk and wound up finishing that project up. Yeah.
So I mean, even we talking about, you know, early like prime rapper like dog, like are you starting to like have relationships with any of the other artists over there? Because you got the Ghetto Boys over there, you got Big Mello over there. I mean, this is rapping.
Oh, we Big Mello, we had so much fun with Big Mello. You know, he was a comedian too, you know, and Face wasn't really around Face too much because he was, you know, traveling a lot, you know, doing a lot of stuff, you know. And back then it wasn't the same as it, you know, artists really linking up, but we did link up with pretty much everybody on there. 3-2, Big Mike was the Convicts, the R Squad, you know, with Devin, Jug Mud, Blind Rob, and oh man, all the groups at that time, we all pretty much linked up at some point because back then it wasn't a whole lot of artists. So we pretty much was like, well, we performing at, it's gonna 9 times out of 10 be us. Yeah, so, you know, we pretty much linked up with everybody that was on Rap a Lot, you know, except, you know, Face, like I say, the Ghetto Boys, they was.
I mean, they were huge at this time.
So, you know, and, you know.
They probably ain't even around for real. I would imagine they probably not around because they're so big, yeah.
Yeah, hardly ever, you know, so, you know, we was doing our thing, and for me, I know I can only speak for myself, I felt like the whole time, like, this is like a dream, and we really not gonna be like the Ghetto Boys. So I stayed in the streets, and
But are y'all getting rap money at this time though? And you just more so in your mind like I ain't getting too caught up on the rap
I
thing.
ain't even care because it wasn't coming enough for me to make. It wasn't coming enough for me to say I'm not finna hustle. So you know, all the time they say, man, you gonna mess the group out, dog. Man, come on, man. You come on.
This what E-Rock and Double O telling you.
Yeah, they tell me, man, come on, dog. And you know, they like, man, why you doing that, dog? I'm like, man, it ain't got nothing on, man. Look, you know, just call me when y'all get to the studio. I'm gonna meet y'all over there. I've been like that from then to almost now. Like, just call me when y'all, cause I know y'all serious. And I'll show up, but I got to give me some money.
For this personal shit, y'all gonna be doing what y'all doing on y'all own time. Don't be doing what I'm doing
on my own time. Right? Yeah.
So y'all do Gangsta Funk. Did you get locked up at the Gangsta Funk, or you made it through that?
I got locked up. I had a good run after Gangsta Funk. I had a good run. We did wound up doing the project Rated G.
Yeah.
And we had quite, you know.
So that whole stretch, you was out.
I was out.
Gangsta Funk to Rated G, you was good on that.
I was out and adapting to going on the road because they had already been on the road performing. So like quite a few shows, I just went and was just like Okay, all right, you know what I'm saying? And I'm dinging and daggling with the women, you know what I'm saying? And I like, look, we had women passing out like we was Michael Jackson. So what they did, cause I'm looking at it, I'm like they'll touch me like pass out. I'm like, man, what kind of stuff is this? So I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I got to give me some music and I got to
I need a little bit of that.
Yeah, let me start learning my rhymes like hey you done. Yeah, so after a few shows, they was like, man, this before Gangsta Funk was still in the works, and but Ghetto Dope had been in rotation, and when we did Gangsta Funk, I finally had a solo song and a couple other songs on there. We only had like 10 songs on that project, so you know we all three had solos.
And who produces y'all? Y'all still with P.W.A. Gangsta Funk?
At this time, that's when we moved into Mike Dean.
Yeah.
And get N.O. Joe. N.O. Joe from New Orleans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
so he did quite a few of them tracks, and then Mike Dean was being introduced, and he did my solo, Low Life in the Streets. Yeah, we sat there and did that, and that's.
Can you talk about your first impressions of Mike Dean when you meet a young Mike Dean for the first time?
Man, cause I still was not really into the smoking thing. They pretty much was blowing their tops off, and I'm sitting there kind of left out, feeling like I had a natural high, and then they like you ain't high, you sitting over there, so we high. So then I started smoking, and then I tried it, and I'm like
Through them,
okay.
through
them, yeah, through the rap thing. I ain't gonna lie, I was square. I ain't on the smoking tip, whatever, and seeing Mike Dean them rolling up paper squares. They like, you don't need all that cigar stuff, they rolled up a paper square, and they was smoking Indo and Dro stuff back then, and getting high. And I'm like, that's when I realized what a hippie was. Hey, look, we just cool. We ain't trying to be no drumming, no nothing, So when Double O and them used to get aggressive and stuff and all, they like, man, come on, man, we ain't not for all that tonight. Mike Dean like, come on, man, let's just do some music. You know what I'm saying?
When you say get aggressive, so in the lab and shit, what you mean?
We're in the studio. We're in the studio, and back then, we're in the studio for the rest of the night. Like they finna come over the beat. Mike Dean finna come over.
Where
the
y'all
beat.
recording at this time?
It was it was before Knockout. Jungle Style was still Beto. They had a studio over there, and then they had Knockout and Hippie House with Mike Dean them. It was called Hippie House, and it was a hood that smoke weed all day and make music. So we had to blend that in. So we in the studio from the time we get there to whenever somebody get hungry, and that's when we learn about runners. Hey man, you go get it, and we gonna stay here and come up with this song. And we might go to sleep on a beat for 4 or 5 hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours. The beat playing all night. Mike Dean and went to sleep. We just fell asleep too and woke up, and we finally come up with a song in the morning. So we was in there all night to the next day. That's how we doing then, and we didn't realize like we run on some studio time. Yeah, y'all got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to pay for that. Yeah, so, but yeah, that right there was the life of me still learning. I was still learning what
the business was.
Right, yeah. So they had a whole, and they weren't like showing me like, hey man, bro, you need to think about this. You need to, I'm gonna teach you this and all that. They like, he gonna catch you into it, and pretty much I was like in and out the door with it, and I wind up catching on to it and sitting there long enough, but they still had to call me to make it to the studio. And like, man, where you at, dog? Come on, man. The beat been playing for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying, man? Come on, dog, man. Just please show up, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's been, man, I've been late so long to where it's still stuck on me a little bit.
No shit. So what you doing? You out there just hustling, just trying to get it the whole time?
Yeah, I'm like because I'm still not thinking that we finna be this big thing.
You still ain't taking this rap shit serious.
No,
Even though we on Rap a lot, I'm seeing these rap stars. These my label mates.
Man, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be at the flea market every Friday and Saturday, buying me some British Knights and a silk shirt. Yeah, and I'm faithfully with it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can wear whatever y'all want to wear, but I'm trying to get it to where, if I got enough and I could take you and take you, whatever. I ain't bragging on it, but let's go get us some clothes, dog. We need to look like they looking. Yeah, so that was just me. I've been like that, as far as, and I'm not gonna show up until I feel like I'm good enough to show up. Until they didn't call me enough too. We had pages back then, and my thing stayed on overflow. Man, we text you 1,000 times down, man. Then when them cell phones kicked in, the cell phone bill was $700 because they wasn't like it is now. You unlimited calls. It's like
every call. That's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't gonna pay the whole bill. Your phone, they gonna cut your whole phone off. So I'm paying $800 every month. So but yeah, that was the whole life of still not accepting that I'm really a rapper. Yeah, I'm still watching TV. I'm still, man, this boy special ed, boy, this boy dope. I'm still looking at rappers on TV like I ain't thinking like we finna be these dudes. I'm like, see, them dudes stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you make it through. You said through Rated G.
Make it through Rated G, and then we did.
Before Usual Suspects.
Rated G, and then Usual Suspects came next.
But before that, you don't get locked up in between Rated G and Usual
I
Suspects?
missed the whole. Yeah, I did good for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed free. I ducked off for a minute, and I believe the reason why I made it so long because I hustled a little different than the average hustler. When you getting money, the first thing you go buy is the latest stuff, which is probably a jersey, some rope chains and all that. For some reason, I feel like I needed to be dressed up while I was hustling. So I wore a dress shirt to almost every time I showed up somewhere. I had whatever I was gonna wear in the trunk. For a show, we're gonna go to the studio and buy me a t-shirt or whatever. I had that in the trunk. But when I showed up.
So you on the block dressed up or like how you, I mean?
No, I wasn't on the block. I ain't never really hustled on the block. I ain't stand up. I did that for a little while and the laws chased me off and that wasn't, the block wasn't my thing. So I was a middleman / I'm the man. Yeah, so like I played two roles, and the dressed up thing for me was to detour
the laws,
man, and it worked for me for a long time, until I got snitched on.
No shit.
I got away for a long time being dressed up.
When you get snitched on, this is around before the Usual Suspects and all that?
Just after that. Just a little further on when I got snitched on.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we still had two or three projects in the middle of that before I wound up getting, yeah.
So y'all working on Usual Suspects. I mean, that's, would you say that's y'all biggest album? Because, I mean, it had the P.W.A. record on there.
I say it was our biggest album because of P.W.A., but I feel like the two albums before that was our biggest album because it was a setup for that. Because we didn't know P.W.A. was gonna be the song that took us around the world. That was gonna be the song that made us really relevant. You know what I'm saying?
That stamped y'all for sure, yeah.
Right. So we basically was still going off of ghetto gangster funk and ghetto dope and Rated G because we was building our catalog. We was building our catalog and Usual Suspects was the biggest project. But as an artist, we felt like the work that was done before that was the biggest project because it set us up.
That allowed y'all to, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
It set us up to get to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all working on the Usual Suspects. I mean, talk about that P.W.A., man, because as a DJ, bro, I still can play that today, and it's going to be the same reaction.
Oh, man. That song, So what's crazy about that is, excuse me, we didn't think that song. We didn't look at that song like it was the song that was gonna change our life.
Did you have one on that? Was it a record on there that y'all thought that was gonna be the one?
Yeah, we was doing songs like I Know, clean songs. Yeah, we was doing songs like I Know. We had songs with Big Psych on there. We had songs with the Outlaws on there.
So y'all thinking these more so gonna be the
Yeah,
records
we
that's gonna
like
go under the
features. Yeah,
attention?
we thinking like these songs, like they, and then we had a song. We had a song with 8-Ball, MJG on there. We had some heavy hitters on that project. We didn't have the slightest idea that P.W.A. and even with P.W.A. the beat that we have today is not the original beat for P.W.A. We had a whole nother beat which Scarface wound up using for Mary Mary remix, and Mr. Lee came in, which is my cousin. He came in.
Shout out Mr. Lee.
Shout out to my kinfolk, man. And he wound up like Chief was like, "Hey man, you need to put the boys beat together for these words to this song." We already had the words. Straight up. P.W.A. was already made.
Y'all had already recorded it.
We recorded to the Mary Mary remix. That was P.W.A.
Is a version of that still floating around anywhere? You think anybody got that?
Probably not, because Mary Mary did so
It was
good.
so big, it was like shit.
Yeah, it did so good.
This is Mary Mary now. Yeah.
But we did use the beat
on
our project. Mean Green came on there. He talked on it. And he was like, yeah, with the GB booties and all that. So we did get a chance to get a little feel of the track itself on our project. But when Mr. Lee and JB and I think Mike Dean a little bit, JB, he passed away. JB played the he played that, man, he rolled that bar, man, from the beginning to the end, all the way from the beginning to the end. And it was just a whole chemistry to that whole song to where we didn't know that, like, this was the song that the radio was going to be calling. We shooting songs at the radio station. They shooting them down. They hit us with, if y'all could clean this song up, we going to play this all day long, every day.
So was Willie D and all that on the original version at first?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
The song was the song.
The
it
song
just had a
was,
different beat.
Yeah, look, Willie D was on there and Devin was on there. We get like the whole thing of Devin with his singing and Willie D with his pussy, because he had a song like that. The whole concept of that. Rock pretty much was kind of the 90% orchestrator of the thought of it. But we always try to think of what everybody gonna like. So that was and so for some reason they was like, man, we got to make another beat to these words, to these lyrics, cause like the stuff y'all saying is all flowing together, and then Willie D on there, we got Devin on there. This a heavy hitter song.
You have to rap a lot, yeah.
And they wind up connecting.
So y'all re-recorded it. Y'all didn't take the acapella and put it under there.
No, we ain't re-recorded or nothing. It went just like that.
No shit.
Just like that. That them boys, like Mr. Lee, got on the computer and started doing this thing, and then they hit us up. They say, "Man, we got a track for it." And JB, like I say, he was the one playing most of the guitar licks with him and Mike Dean, but he was the one that did that played the guitar for that song. And man, when we heard it, we was like, man, this Joker jamming, man. This gonna be a good song on the project. Still not knowing that this was gonna be the song that actually stamped us as the fifth Ward Boyz. Because it was still Ghetto Boys at this time. You know what I'm saying? And not saying it wasn't when we this
but
song.
But this is
hit.
what y'all say, man. But you got to recognize us now, though. This is our, we got our quote unquote mind playing tricks. We got
when the radio hit us up and say, y'all make a radio song to that. We playing it. This everywhere, not just in Houston. Everybody I'm like, man, this song was like a disease. It's stressed out. Yeah, it's straight stressed out. And when it's stressed out, it was like when we actually got out there to perform this song had did so good everywhere to like people was like calling themselves P.W.A. Like when we was putting in places, they was already prepared to show us what their version of P.W.A. was. That's how heavy the song was. Like, we doing this song, and when the lights click on, it's like the club naked. All the women was naked.
No shit.
Everywhere we went.
No, wait.
Everywhere we went, they was, look, we almost went to jail in Arkansas. Look, we performing on stage. We had a concert with Too Short and Mystical and us and a couple other people.
Sound like a live show, man. Yeah.
Right, it was heavy. It was a heavy show, and we performing, and police officers came on the stage and was like, "Hey, y'all need to tell these girls to put their clothes on stage, or everybody on the stage going to jail." So we performing. The song is in probably half of the song, you know.
So y'all performing and everybody just in there getting naked.
All the girls.
The girl, right.
They tops off. Yeah, tops off. For some reason, that song was almost like some PCP. Yeah, as soon as you hit it, you naked. As soon as that song come on, they tops off. You know what I'm saying? And when they said that, hey, man, tell the girls put the clothes on. Y'all tell them, man, we performing. So the girls put their clothes on because they had kids in the audience. They had kids. We was performing in a hotel, and they had people that brought their kids to this concert. So that was the reason why they were saying. But we almost went to jail, all of us. Yeah, everybody on the stage, the girls too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the DJ, everybody almost went to jail.
And then y'all did the video for that too, man. Talk about shooting a video for that, man.
We wound up doing a video for it, and what's crazy about it, we was one of the first ones to do a X-rated video, which probably inspired Cocktails and Tip Drill and all the songs. We was one of the first ones to do a naked rap video, because we were saying, like, y'all got to do a naked version to the song and a clean version. You know what I'm saying? And we was like, man, the song, because, you know, it came from every time we did a concert, girls pull their titties out. So it was like, we got to do a naked version.
We got to show
the
this,
song.
yeah.
So we wind up doing both of them the same night, and the video we shot it at a place right here in Richmond, Texas. Is the house they used for the movie Powder with the dude that had the powers, the white boy with the bald head. We did the video in that same house. They used to rent that house out. So we wind up, they was like, no, we're gonna shoot this, we're gonna shoot the dirty and the clean version all in one day. So they told the girls that was there, like, whoever be in this video, you gotta be able to do the naked version and the clean version. We're doing it all tonight. So Willie D was like, we gotta be naked tonight. And I'm saying, nah, we ain't gotta be naked, but the girls gotta be naked. Cause, you know, I think he was in a relationship before, you know, right at that time, and I was too. But I was like, man, we gotta get this done, man. We like this song, like, they loving this song. And we wind up shooting both versions the same night, dirty and clean version. And actually, the dirty version right now on Pornhub at like almost at 3 million views.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
they still looking for that P.W.A.
Yeah. So, you know, so we wind up trying to do another song. Could never top it, but we did one close to it, and we wind up doing Pussy Poppin'.
Yeah, ooh.
Yeah, we wound up coming back with that one. Yeah, we wound up coming back with that one. We did a clean and a dirty version of that one, you know, and we wound up doing that one at Scarface Brother House at Warren Lee in Noriega. They had a house on Highway 6. They had the pool and all that stuff, and we wind up trying to top that one, P.W.A. with another one like that. It was close to it, but it ain't do the same thing. But it did the thing though.
I mean that P.W.A. That's just that's just a moment that's hard to top, man.
Yeah, people always say, man, why y'all try to do another one? And I'm like, man, dog, that's one man. It's like, it's a lot of people.
You don't catch that twice,
yeah. Like, man, we gonna ride with what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Even talk about your verse on it. I'm in a '98. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
on, man.
Man, look, when I was in prison with that verse, man, like, TDC guards were like, they was finding out who I was. I was always quiet you know, because like I know if I brought the attention to me, I'm getting locked up, and in being locked up, because I'm trying to be a celebrity inside the prison. So, but I wanted to be in GP. I wanted to be in general population because all my friends and people I'm connected. I don't want to be locked up because I'm a celebrity or whatever. So, I wind up going through certain places, and then an officer wind up pulling me to the side. I think I'm in trouble, and he's like, "Hey man, come over here, man. Stay right there." And just wait till I talk to you, you know. So I'm like, man, what the hell I did, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm in prison. I ain't did nothing. Pull him to the side. He said, hey, man, you want to flip Ward Boyz? I say, yeah, what's going on? He say, man, they told me you was, dog. Man, I got to get you to do this song for my homegirl, man. She finna get ready to come on. I want you to do it for you. I'm like, man, I'm in jail performing this song. I'm in prison performing this song. I'm like, man, this song did have some effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you say, I mean, but this is after P.W.A. though, so you still hustling during the P.W.A. time and all that.
Oh yeah, I ain't never stopped hustling.
So you at that time you still not seeing it like, man, there's really some rap shit going on. I'm really
No, I'm still not seeing it because back then, if you wasn't doing what you was rapping, you wasn't really no rapper. Which is crazy to be saying that, cause like right now, I would prefer them dudes don't even do what you talking about, cause you finna do a lot of
draw
time.
that attention to yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, but back then it was almost like you got to like proving that okay, you.
I
really,
say I'm doing this, I got to.
I'm doing it. So this became me. To be a rapper and a hustler mixed together because all the chains, the big boy chains, the Mercedes Benz and all that stuff. You know, I used to pull up a rap lot with a Mercedes, and they was like, "How in the hell you get that?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm in the streets. Like, I don't really care about this. Like, oh, you got to check upstairs." I'm like, "I'm gonna get it." They were like, "You don't want it?" I changed the name. I'm like, "Nah, I want it." But I just put that on ice. I'm gonna come get it. But I stayed hustling the whole time, even when it kind of settled down a little bit. We was still rapping. I still never had fathomed that we gonna be a Nelly, one of the ghetto boys. I still was just like we just the P.W.A. boys, man. We we out of the hood, and but people looked at us different because they looked at us like, man, y'all big, dog. Man, I know all the words to all y'all songs. I'm like, I do too. but I gotta go
I
back.
need to get some bread though.
Yeah, but I gotta go to these streets though.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the streets.
Yeah. So man, okay. So y'all do what year do you end up getting locked up? 'Cause you said somebody ended up snitching on you and all that.
Well, before that, I wound up getting locked up, coming from Mike Dean's house. Mike Dean stayed on Highway 6 and had a rapper named Duracell that was on Rap a Lot. And we was leaving Mike Dean's house, and I had a pistol on me, and I had some chronic that Mike Dean gave. I had roll up a square or whatever, and then I had my own sack. And we riding out Highway 6 finna head to the house to go drop Duracell off, and I see the police, and he waited until we missed the exit, and then he jumped on the freeway. So if I'd have got off, he probably would have came, but he waited, he looked, and then when I missed the exit, he wound up getting behind us, pulling us over, and told us to get out the car and all that stuff. And Duracell was on 26, 27 years of parole. He's like, bro, I can't go back to prison now. I say, man, look, everything in my car is mine. If they don't find it, they ain't gonna volunteer to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So they pull us out. They find the weed and all that stuff. He said, anything else in the car? I say, man, it's whatever in there, man, it's mine. It ain't his. And they got him on the side of the car, got me on the back of the car, whatever. I said, whatever you find in there, it's mine, man. They ain't got nothing to do with this. He just ride with me or whatever. And they find the pistol. One of the other officers find the pistol. He said, oh, he got a gun. He got a gun. You know. So the officer was like, he said, man, why you tell me that gun? I say, man, I don't want to say what's in there. I'm like, because I found it. He said, well, what'd you get? I say, man, that's not my pistol. I found this pistol today at McDonald's on 34th on top of the payphone. Payphones were back then. I say, I put my hand up there, and if somebody left a gun up there. And I say, He said, well, why you ain't turn? I said, man, I wasn't gonna turn it in. I was gonna take it home. I wasn't planning on y'all pulling me over and getting caught with it. And he was like, well, okay, well, man, I'm gonna put it on it, man, since you're being cooperative, whatever, so you don't have nothing to do with it. I said, man, everything in that car is mine. So they gave this dude a complimentary ride to the house. Still to this day, he could tell you, like, man, I so appreciate you, man. I had did all these years in prison, man, and man, I appreciate you, whatever, you know. He wrote me and told me, man, thank you, man, you know, for not, you know, owning up to you. I'm like, yeah, I ain't, that's mine. You just ride with me, you know what I'm saying? So that point right there, I wound up getting 3 years probation. And I was like, I'm getting a chance to rap again. Because every time I got locked up, I thought it was over with. It was over with for me. So I wound up getting out 3 years probation. They made me get a job. I wound up working, and I'm trying to do the rapping mixed with the working. And
Y'all still on Rap Light at this time?
Still on Rap Light. Still on Rap Light. But they looking at me like, man, you're a catastrophe, dog.
You need some structure in your life. Yeah.
Man, you say, man, look, like these dudes telling me like, man, you need to chill, dog, man. You doing too much, man. And but I still was like, man, it's just 3 years probation. I'm smoking. I'm still doing everything that's against the law. And I wound up getting 6 months state jail for P.W.A. and no community service. And they like, man, you locked up again, dog. I say, yeah, I ain't got but 6 months this time. I know when I get out, I'm going hard. Yeah. And I get out and we do Recognize the Mob, a project. We had did P.W.A. the album after Usual Suspect because we try to rebirth P.W.A. Yeah. So after that, when I get out, we wind up doing Recognize the Mob, which had Daz and Dillinger on there. We had quite a few people on there too, the Outlaws. We had quite a few people on that project. Devin the Dude was on that one again, and 18 months after I had got out of state jail, that's when I wound up getting snitched on. Cause I went in the streets heavy then, cause I feel like I had to catch up. I feel like I had like, okay, I ain't on no papers or none of that stuff this time. So when I get out this time, I gotta catch up and put us back on again. You know what I'm saying? But Double O was locked up, so it was just me and E-Rock. So the whole time, me and Double O screwing up, and Rock pretty much, he got locked up too, but pretty much we was doing the most time. So it wasn't no more Fifth Ward Boyz after that. It was just wondering if we was gonna ever get a chance to do it again. You know, because when Double O was in there, I was out. When he got out, I went in. So basically it was like that whole little.
We're never gonna, not the three of y'all again like that.
We felt like that. And so things changed from that point too. You know, I did 7 years, and Double O did 5. I did 7. So growing up, 7-year difference from when we felt like we was still out there wilding and all that stuff. Maturity, you know what I'm saying? We had left some kids out there that we made and stuff, you know. So I was like in prison, like, man, if I ever get a chance again, I might not even rap no more. But I want to make sure I don't go back to prison again and kill that part. So I wind up getting another chance again, and which on my project, I wrote a song in prison that I put on my project called Second Chance, and that's on the nonfiction project I just put out. And once again, I got another chance to, if I wanted to do it again or not. So I felt like, man, you know, this from the beginning when I was telling you that it was in my genes to be a rapper, to be an artist, period. I said, man, I need to do it again. So I told Rock, I said, man, I'm down with you. Let's do another Fifth Ward Bar project. But basically, like, Double O is, you know, he doing gospel, and it's really not Fifth Ward Boyz unless it's all three of us. And so Double O was like, well, who gonna do my parts and stuff? Like, he asked me this question. I'm like, nah, man, I might do one of them, but we ain't finna bring nobody in the group. You know what I'm saying? Because with the Ghetto Boys, when they brought Big Mike in, Big Mike came in and tore that thing off the frame. But he wasn't a ghetto boy though. You know what I'm saying?
You still
He was a
used to
ghetto boy,
seeing.
but he was still. I'm like, this Big Mike, the Convicts. This Big Mike, something serious. You know what I'm saying? His solo stuff. So like still it feel like that crutch was missing with Double O. So we like right now we still like we was working on the P.W.A project. We got like 15 songs that's in the cut, but like we still missing that 007. You know what I'm saying? So that's what allowed me to say, you know what, I'm gonna do a solo project. Rock, you do your solo project, and if 007 decide he want to come in, and if he decide to do it, let's do another project. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go ahead and put that together, whatever. And but if not, we got 2 solo projects that we can divide the songs that we did do as a P.W.A Boys. We can split them up and we can just keep going from that point. Whatever.
Yeah. Man, that's what it is, man. Well, man, what I mean, you got the project out right now. You know what I'm saying? You doing videos or what you got doing on that side?
Right now I got 2 videos out that's on the project. Me and You and Dope Boy. And I also got another song that's not on the project, but it's on the CD that I'm selling. Is Backshots. It's I got 3 videos on YouTube right now. I'm working on a new video actually this weekend. U-Turn Driveways. That's a song that I did that was like the growth of disappointment. You have people that you call on, and for whatever reason they don't respond to you like you would like for them to do. Not saying that they wouldn't do it or not. It's just like the world busy right now. And then, with the pandemic going on, like artists may just be like, hey man, I'm focusing on me right now, or I catch up with you, do this here. So U-Turn Driveway was like, I'm not dealing with nonsense. So like the same driveway that you came in, if you're not in the mind frame of where I want you to be at, the same driveway is available for you to go back, make a U-turn and go back the other way. So basically that song, U-Turn Driveway, it's the video I'm shooting this weekend, was a song that like I don't want to fight you about it. I'm not going to argue with you about it. It's just something that I catch up with you. I can understand, because I be busy too. Like I might can't do something at the time. And it's just some at this point, like it's not like the city don't support each other, or whatever. I don't want to get into all that. As far as like they don't do this, they don't do it like Atlanta be doing it. They don't work with each other now. No, it's just like some people just be busy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, but with the nonsense, that's what made that song. Like, just U-turn and go out their way. I'm gonna keep it moving. Basically, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is, man. You got anything else before we get up out of here, man?
The project out right now.
Go get that for sure.
It's on everything except for Apple and iTunes because they, Apple and them is real serious about like not want to be in no litigations on no arguments about no lawsuits and stuff like that. So I had recently put out some singles that I put on the project, and they recognized it. So they wind up rejecting the project. So I'm still working on that right now. Like I'm talking to some people to see if I can still get my project on it with them. But actually it's on Amazon, it's on Tidal, it's on Google Play, wind up linking up with YouTube and Spotify. It's on everything else. Yeah, it's on everything else. And I got my own radio station on Pandora, New Life, N-U-E-L-I-F-E. Pull that up, and I'm P.W.A Boy, New Life, N-U-E-L-I-F-E 7 on Instagram. And right now I'm Rich and Nash on Facebook, so they can pull that up. And they can get ready for a whole lot of other stuff because right now I'm back in the lab. You know what I'm saying? I'm back in the lab. Yeah. So for the next project. Because it don't stop. If you don't continue putting logs in the fire gonna wind up going out.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming through, man.
And I appreciate you having me,
Yeah,
man.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
I've been
sure.
trying to get up. I appreciate you, boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
No
for
doubt.
sure. That's
no
what
doubt.
it is, man. It's Donnie Houston Podcast, man. Low Life, Fifth Ward Boyz, man. We out.
Donnie Houston.